and welcome to Nazranis in the City. I'm Josh Abraham.
And I'm Abi Abraham.
And here we are. My gosh, we're actually doing this.
It happened.
Man, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Definitely a little bit nervous, but, I'm just glad it's happening.
Nervous is the right word to use. But let's just deep dive into it, man. How did this happen? Where did we start?
Well, I guess it started off with just our relationship, right? We met 2 years ago in seminary. We'll get far more into that, but just all the conversations we've had since then. It's almost every conversation we have, we just think, dang, we wish we recorded that.
There were so many moments, I think, like where it was always in retrospect, where we look back at the conversation, we were like, man, the Holy Spirit was there.
Absolutely.
Right? And it instilled this desire for us to just to be like, dang, like if only there was a way we could share this conversation with other people.
Yeah.
Right. But it was I think it's super important for us to explain the process of discernment. At first, we had this idea of doing a podcast. I think it actually started when the podcast idea started when quarantine started to take full effect. I remember that first phone call we had, and I don't know. For me, like I was just feeling kind of angsty about it. I was like, man, I don't know how I feel about putting my voice out there. And it certainly wasn't something I wanted to take into my own hands. Yeah. I feel like that's a lesson God's been really trying to teach me in the last couple of years. Yeah, just like, do not take this in your own hands. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of the same thing for you?
For sure. I mean, I think that it was the opposite problem in the sense that I was taking it into my own hands. I was like, I felt obligated that I had to do this. I was like, Josh and I have these amazing conversations. I'm not doing anything for the church right now. Like, I need to be doing this or something. But that was sort of the opposite problem, right? It was like this fear of not doing enough. And rather than like, where is this going to? What is the whole purpose of this, right?
Right, yeah. So like, I think we both recognize there's something good here that like, yeah, we have these spirit-filled conversations. Neither of us are qualified, by the way. I just graduated with a bachelor's degree in philosophy.
I'm a dropout.
We'll get into all that in a later episode. Neither of us are qualified, but we recognize that, like, what did you say yesterday? It's better to say it than to have not said it.
Yeah. Like, because we're not claiming to give factual information 100% of the time, we're just having conversation between two friends. Most of the stuff we say, I feel like it's better left said, as rough as it may be, than just not said at all. Because somebody's to get something out of it, so be it. Yeah.
Perspective is the name of the game. So what we did was we recognized the desire and we just let it go. We sat on it, we prayed with it, and I gotta tell you, it's been so cool in the last couple of months just to literally watch the Lord lead this. Yeah. Like he's really been leading it. Like it would be coming like waves of consolation in my own prayer, and then I would immediately text Abby and I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is what's happening in my prayer.
And you would like share like the same verses or something that touched us or something, and be like, man, we're not scripture scholars, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So just all these kind of little signs of confirmation, and then like little obstacles, right? Like you're from Northern California. Mm-hmm. I'm from Southern California. That's literally like an 8-hour drive. Yeah. And you actually found a way to come down to SoCal.
8 hours of your driving.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not a very good driver. But here we are. Here we are. This is our podcast.
I mean, even right before, it was like, this might not happen, right? We were afraid of, like, is this prudent? During the virus? But we figured out a way to make it happen. Parents played along, and all our brothers are helping us out. It's like everything is just adding up even more than we had planned it.
Right. Yeah. And this is going to be a whole episode later on, but there's a huge difference now in doing something out of love and desire than out of fear.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's kind of that's the genesis. Mm-hmm. That's the backstory. But what is this about? What are we going to be talking about on this podcast? Right. So it's called Nazranis in the City. I will. That the Spirit gave me that name, mm-hmm. And I feel the need to explain that. Nazranis, Syriac for St. Thomas Christians, right? And I think anybody who is a Nazrani at some point has wondered, like, who am I, right? Straight up, I think St. Thomas Christians are in an identity crisis. Mm-hmm. living in America, right? Like, so our parents immigrated here to the States. We grew up knowing that we're Catholic,
Yeah.
but also, and there's like there's something else that has to be added into it, right? And
Because
none
even
of
the
this,
check boxes on all the tests and stuff is Roman Catholic, right? Is this very specific thing that we're like,
right.
I think so, but maybe not.
Yeah. So like, I feel like the essence of this podcast is just navigating.
Mm-hmm.
Navigating was a really good word that we came up with yesterday. We're just navigating what it means to be a St. Thomas Christian in the world. So like, city is kind of like analogous to the world, because I think I think like one thing we can say is that to be a St. Thomas Christian, to be a Catholic, any sort of Catholic, is to inherently be missionary, right? And I think it's really time that we St. Thomas Christians really like took pride in our identity, and we go out. We have to be missionary.
Yeah, and I like that you brought the going out, right? Because if we're just here to grow within ourselves, are we living up to that call of being missionaries? And what is our purpose of being in America and being anywhere except Kerala if we're just feeding ourselves, right?
Right.
So really navigating through that.
Yeah. So I think this podcast is for anyone else who's going through that sort of identity crisis. Any Sri Malabar Catholic or any Eastern Catholic that's there are very particular problems that we go through that maybe need to be addressed and further discussed, right? And we feel that this podcast could be a place to do that.
Right. And just discussing various topics from our angle, right? Because all of these topics, there's plenty of experts out there. There's plenty of people that know better than us. There's plenty of better orators and all of these things. But we're just here to give our angle on it and maybe talk about it, have different guests on, hopefully, and just go into all of these things, right? And engage people and see how can we together as a diocese, as people of the same faith, go forward and figure this stuff out together.
Yeah. So I think about it this way. That's one side of the coin for this podcast. The other side is we feel called to share our lives with people who want to listen. Is that a good way to put it? Yeah.
Yeah, and that goes back to this whole thing of we just wish a lot of the things that we would talk about and have to kind of break down, we wish we had something to listen to at that time.
Yeah.
We wish we had two Josh and Ubbies to listen to that were going through this same thing. So if there's other folks out there that want to hear this, then so be it.
Yeah. And I think we should just immediately dispel the lie. In no way are we trying to convince you that we have everything figured out. No. That is not the case, and you will see that. If you have not seen that already, you will see that soon enough. But yeah, that's what we're here to do. And honestly, yeah, thanks for taking the time to listen. We hope you join us for our next episode. All right. Praise be Jesus Christ.